Today, in the nerdy news you need to know about, we have a Pokemon release date, Apple's getting serious about video games, and Elden Ring Nightreign reviews are in. We'll have all this and more because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, May 28th, 2025. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Forbes 30 Under 30, a.k.a. the second best baby blues in San Francisco, a.k.a. Game Showdown Season 3, second place, Tim Geddes.
Let Tim host. How are you, Greg?
I'm excellent. How are you, Tim?
I'm excellent as well.
You just reminded me we have a double date tonight.
We do.
I kind of forget. I come here, I like, you know what I mean? Like,
I live at a moment at a time.
I come here and I kind of severance myself.
Yep.
Where I get here and it's all about work. How can I torture
That's
Roger?
why you make those weird sounds. I see you over there sitting at your desk.
Yeah, I know what I mean? As soon as I come through our little door.
Explains a lot.
I forgot that you, me, and the girls going out tonight. Getting wild on the streets.
Crazy on a
Had to start breaking
night.
that to Ben today. He started are you going to be here when I go to sleep? You'll be asleep. Oh, you know what I mean? Back and
It's a
forth.
whole thing, yeah.
Screwed up yesterday. I mentioned an upcoming trip. And he's like, tonight? I'm like, not tonight. I'm like, don't ask about tomorrow. Don't ask about tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know? It's a reservation. Yeah. We have a House of Prime rib reservation we made for next month, like 3 months ago.
Oh, yeah?
But now we got to kind of.
But now it's tomorrow?
No. We got to add somebody to it. Don't worry about the tomorrow thing. How are you?
I'm
worry about
fantastic.
the Tomorrow War. Remember that movie?
What a great movie.
Great movie.
Great movie. I love how that's the thing that everyone always goes back to of like.
Can I spoil something for you?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. Because I want to do a Kind of Funny podcast about the Tomorrow
Just the
War.
Tomorrow War?
Just about the Tomorrow.
I'm so
Because I
down.
fucking love that
I love
film. Fuck you people on Reddit trying to throw it in my face. Fuck you. It was a fun idea. It was a good movie. I digress. Tim, you're good? You're well?
I'm very well.
That's
Yeah.
what I like to
Excited to talk about a lot of this news today.
We have a lot of news. So much news that some of the things you probably think would be a normal news item are in Wii News because it's cool news, but not news to discuss. But it doesn't matter because we'll get through it all because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about live on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, and podcast services around the globe. If you love that, we'd love you to pick up a Kind of Funny membership. Of course, $10 gets you all of our shows ad-free for the entire month. That's more than 80 episodes of content. And of course, you get your daily dose of me, Greg Miller, in a series we call Gregway. That's 15 to 20 minutes of me each and every weekday, adding up to 4 hours of exclusive podcasts just for your listening holes and your eyes.
Ew.
Nobody talks about holes enough on the body.
Yeah.
All of the holes.
Okay.
Let me in your ears.
Oh, man.
If you got no bucks tossed away, no big deal. Like, subscribe, share, ring the bell, notify. If you have Amazon Prime, you got Twitch Prime. Give us a free 30-day subscription that doesn't auto-renew because they want you to forget it's a benefit for you. However, if you're watching live and you want to go that special extra mile, you can super chat on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames to be part of the show as we go. We had a super chat before we even went live from CJ Splitson, who said, wanted to shout out Pipistrello, Zeldavania 87 on OpenCritic. Barrett, it's my first link there. The PR for this has been fantastic. I think they were on one of our shows, one of the indie mixes we had done, and they have been really great about keeping me posted about its progress. It is out apparently 87 on OpenCritic. I have a code. I haven't touched it. Not necessarily my type of game, but Barrett, if you watch the trailer there, I think a lot of people on this team might be really into it because, yeah, it is Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo, I believe. So as you can see here, very old school vibe as you walk
a little
around.
link to the past, like, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
And you came in hyped as hell on this right before we did GAMESCAST and was like selling me and Bless on it. And I'm like, I'm sold. Look at this shit. This looks awesome.
I put you in games code a long time ago, but nobody cared about it there, did you? Put the trailer in there and everything. Too many games. Let's just be frank. There's too many games. I want you to know that you, the audience, the Kind of Funny best friends, have turned me around on this fantasy life eye. Okay. We watched the trailer, during the Switch thing. I was like, okay. And then somebody brought it up on one of the shows here, and we watched it, and I'm like, it looks like it's doing a lot of stuff. I don't know if it's doing any of it well. And there's so many people on Blue Sky who are like, no, Greg, this is a Greg game. You need to get on it. So I'm getting on it, everybody. I'll be playing Fantasy Life I, seeing if that works for me. But there's just too much happening. There's too many gosh darn games playing. Let alone the launch of a brand new system next week. I digress. If you didn't know, everybody, we are Kind of Funny Games. We're an 11-person business all about live talk shows. Today, you've already gotten our Elden Ring Nightreign review over on GAMESCAST. Of course, we did them out of order. Blessing has to shoot off and do some coverage somewhere else. So, of course, you can go to youtube.com/kindafunnygames to see that review or get the GAMESCAST on the podcast service of your choice. If you want to hang out today, of course, after us, the stream is happening. It's Nick diving deeper into Doom the Dark Ages. If you're a Kind of Funny member, today's Gregway is 15 minutes about what triggers me and 2 parenting cues. I heard you and Blessing debating on the GAMESCAST. No, they are not related. The parenting questions are not related to anything that triggers me. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Carl Jacobs, Omega Buster, and Delaney Twining. Today we're brought to you by Mood, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is, and forever will be, the Roper Report. Time for some news! 7 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen.
We begin with story number 1. Pokemon Legends ZA, that's Z-A, has a release date and more. First off, we have a cover. Throw up the cover, Barrett. Let's look at this. What I will say is a gorgeous cover.
Yeah.
I'm saying it.
You're going to look at this and say this is a
I'm going to
gorgeous
say this is
cover.
gorgeous, and I'm going to say something even bolder, Tim.
What?
It's 2025. The time has come.
For what?
Let Greg Miller review this one. Let Greg Miller review Pokemon ZA for the first of his. I've never reviewed a Pokemon game with good reason because I haven't played a lot of them. But I played the latest one. I didn't roll credits on it yet, but I need to.
Yeah.
But maybe I don't even do that. Think about it. Stew on it. Because
That is a
the,
thinker.
I don't want to
but
take the food from your plate. I don't
you
want to take
might
it from
be-
Blessing's plate. I understand
Yeah.
you're Pokemaniacs.
Yeah, this one, I might need to put my foot down on this one.
Think about it.
I might need to.
Just
because,
think about it.
It being a Switch 2 edition.
You're not thinking yet, though.
Yeah.
You
you're
can
right,
review
you're right.
the Switch 2 version, and I'll review the Switch version. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe we can convince Nintendo to give us 2 copies now.
God, wouldn't that solve a lot of fucking
It would.
issues, Nintendo?
It really would.
I'm gonna fucking
God.
see Mario at the Nintendo store one day, and I'm gonna grab his boob cheese and I'm gonna shake his little face and say, "What the fuck's going on? Give us one of the codes. What's your fucking problem? What's your fucking problem, Mario? Let me reveal the Pokemon, you fucking son of a bitch."
Oh my god.
The Pokemon
I wanna
Company
let all y'all
Internet-
know that was a lot scary to look at from the side. Like the angle you got, that was good, but like my god, I've never seen him look quite like that.
I'm having fun today, all right?
You are.
I like the 11 o'clock start for a games daily.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let
You're
me
a little warmed
percolate.
up
Let me
just a little
percolate
bit.
over that.
Get a lot of this going
A lot
on.
of that.
Okay. We got to talk about the cover art for a sec, though, Greg.
Okay, sure. Throw it
We
back
ain't
up.
done with that.
Throw it back up.
You bring it up. You say it's beautiful cover art. And look, I can't disagree with you that the art is beautiful. I actually am a very big fan of this. I think it's very cool. Seeing a lot of Mega Evolution fights in the streets of Kalos, okay? Dope stuff. Lumio City, we in this bitch.
Yeah.
But why is there just so much text? So
Sure.
much text. So much
Okay,
text.
I'm with
oh
you,
my
yes.
God.
I
It's-
agree.
It's
This
disgusting.
Includes
it's
the
disgusting.
Nintendo Switch game and the Nintendo Switch 2 Edition upgrade pack. Upgrade pack also available separately. For details, visit.
And they got to do it. They got to fucking do it because it's complicated.
Because they made
We're
it
in
so
this world
complicated.
where it's like you have to explain all these things. Thank God this isn't a freaking game key card, whatever the hell game.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there'd be even more text and even more stuff. But why is the top of this so big? And does any of this matter fully? No, it doesn't. Does it bother me? Yes, it does. And I on a video game show talking about what I like and dislike about video games. Yes, I am, Greg, and I dislike this. I dislike how much
I don't like
of
that
the
you're.
borders.
Here's what I'll say about what I like and don't like. I don't like that all of a sudden you're stepping in trying to justify your opinion on this. This is what the show's all about.
I
You let
understand.
your freak flag fly.
Well, I only do it because I'm sitting next to somebody that at any chance tries to shut me down and say that I'm wrong for buying physical games. But then you
Oh,
compare
well,
it
yeah.
to this.
Come on
You look
now.
at this.
Yeah.
Look at the Switch 1
Beautiful.
version.
Very gorgeous.
Clean.
Look at this.
Oh,
Yeah. No, you're. I mean, I don't.
What
Tim,
are we
I
doing?
understand we've had our differences.
Yes,
You know
you
what
and
I
I.
mean? When I had the money in the bank, when I had to win the whole thing, it was amazing. But I stand with you on this, that the Switch 2 box art setup is dumb. The giant borders, how much bezel they're putting on this for some reason.
Man.
And then, the fact that they have to put all this information at the bottom with a QR code sucks. And then, I'm saying I'm looking past the Nintendo bullshit on it and just at this. Even,
There we go.
frankly, I don't even like the little square of Nintendo Switch on
No,
this one.
You
but
need
again,
that. That's,
but
you
again,
need to understand what system it is.
oh, I agree. I'm just saying.
The red spine.
Here, I would have
Love
rather
this.
just had the red border all the way across, but smaller than Nintendo Switch or
more
something.
art.
Like PS2, like a
Hold on,
PlayStation 2
Bear,
case.
do me a favor. Do me a favor here,
Fucking
okay?
do him a
Bring
favor,
up
Bear.
Breath of the Wild on the Switch. Please don't show me the goddamn Switch 2 version. I don't want to see this abomination.
Do I have to read all the text at the bottom of that too? That this is actually the Nintendo Switch version.
Well,
When it comes
with
to
the
the
Switch
Nintendo
2
Switch 2
version,
version,
you do.
I know I do.
You do.
I know I do.
I really wish you didn't, Greg. But you do, everybody.
Let's keep this energy all the way through date night. Let Gia and Jen, they want to know what to do.
Strap the fuck in. The Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom specifically, we're talking about some beautiful cover art. Absolutely beautiful.
This one, right?
Oh, I hate you so much. I hate you so much, man. Even take away the fucking essay at the bottom. Even the Nintendo Switch 2 edition. It's just so much shit. But then you look at this, and like just it not having the border all the way across the top allows that art to just really, really shine, man. I love this so damn much. Gonna miss it. Really gonna miss it.
Do we fix it soon though? Nintendo must know this is ugly. Their new version. They're
trying to really make it clear to people that this is a different system. And I get it.
There's
a lot of dum-dums out there.
They'll read it.
They're
We
not gonna
redesign
change
boxes
it.
all the time.
And also,
don't we?
there's a way to make it clear that it's a different system without it making it look like ass. Absolute ass.
Time out.
I just get a Slack or a notification from Slack that's Greg asking, please break out me threatening to kill Mario.
Wring his fucking neck.
Blessing in the chat when that happened said we definitely just got put on a blacklist just now.
Oh man. Anyway,
I go to the news.
Yes.
The Pokemon Company International, that's TPCI, today announced that they put that in the press release. Don't get mad at me. Today announced that Pokemon Legends ZA and Pokemon Legends ZA Nintendo Switch 2 Edition games will launch on October 16th, 2025, with digital pre-orders beginning June 5th on the Nintendo eShop. TPCI also revealed that the next Pokemon Presents digital presentation will occur on July 22nd, 2025 on the official Pokemon YouTube channel. Players who purchase either the physical or digital version of Pokemon Legends ZA for Nintendo Switch will have the option to upgrade to the Nintendo Switch 2 edition by purchasing an upgrade pack. Upgrade packs will be available on the Nintendo eShop and My Nintendo Store. Timothy?
Yes.
We know how you feel about the box art. How do you feel about October 16th?
I feel really good about it. This feels very in line with what I expected from this. The big thing was, what is Nintendo's big game in the fall? And the answer clearly is Pokemon ZA and Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. So the question was, is this going to be October and that November, or this November and that October, right? Maybe you throw in a December in there because every once in a while they get a little crazy. I don't think that's going to be the case with this.
Yeah.
Pokemon tend to be around that like pre-Black Friday. The weeks leading into Black Friday is normally when they launch their biggest products. This is Pokemon Legends, which is technically, I don't want to call it a spin-off, but it is not in the exact main line of the core games. But I think that Nintendo's now trying to position Legends as a alternative core path.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think that the everything that we're seeing from the game definitely does seem like this is a much bigger step closer to Scarlet and Violet style than Legends Arceus was.
Sure.
It's kind of, I would say it's meeting in the middle is probably a better way to say it. So yeah, very excited for this game. Incredibly excited that we now are past the questions of how Nintendo's going to handle its upgrade paths and all that stuff. And they're handling it, in my opinion,
as good as you can.
Beyond what I expected from them. Absolutely. But knowing we're getting a Switch 2 version of this day one, I don't need to fucking worry about it.
Yeah, that's
Thank
nice.
God.
Yeah.
October 16th. I think that's great. I think that there's also a lot to glean here from the other information we get. July 22nd, getting a Pokemon Presents. This is pretty dang early. This might be the earliest we've gotten a Pokemon Presents announcement. And I wonder why. Like, I wonder, is that them just trying to be like, yo, we know Summer Game Fest is happening right now. We're getting the release date information out here, but just don't expect much from Pokemon during that time frame. I mean, the big question is Nintendo even going to do anything, any showcase or anything of that style in June? Probably not, because that's when the Switch 2 is launching.
You don't need to, right?
And they've done a very good job of kind of laying out the next couple of months, especially now with this October date, because working from next week, right? Next week, June 5th, we get Switch 2 launch. We get Mario Kart World being the big new game, Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom being the two kind of Switch 2 edition upgrades
Sure.
that they're pushing there. Then July 17th, we're getting Donkey Kong Bonanza. July 20-something, 23rd, I want to say, is Mario Party Jamboree Switch 2 edition.
Okay.
With the new mode that they have, with all the camera support stuff. And then in August 28th, I think, we're getting Kirby and the Forgotten Land Switch 2 edition with the Star-Crossed World. So these Switch 2 editions with like the substantial new content updates, right?
Yeah.
That Nintendo's clearly positioning as essentially new games for people to play, and like they're positioning them that way. And then we don't know a big September thing. We get here to October for this. I imagine Metroid Prime is going to be November. There's still a bunch of games that Nintendo announced at the Direct as 2025. Dragon Drive, Legend of Zelda, the Hyrule Warriors.
Oh,
I forgot the name of the Age of Imprisonment. No. You guys know what I'm talking about.
The one where you play as Zelda.
Yeah, we don't know.
That's what it's called.
But that's 2025, and we don't have a date for that one yet. And there was a couple others. So we still have some open spaces, but we know that there's games to fill those spaces. So at this point, I'm not expecting any more giant games of consequence from Nintendo to be announced for 2025.
Okay.
But there is always room, right? There is the potential that Metroid being a December game would not be out of the realm of possibility for how Nintendo treats Metroid and how they think about that game. And now that we know, without a shadow of a doubt, it is a cross-gen game that you can buy on Switch or Switch 2. And thank God we could buy it on Switch 2 and play in 4K. But yeah, all that is very exciting to me. And this being October, I prefer that than November. There's something about getting this one on the sooner end I feel is going to be really good. I want to give Metroid as much time to cook as possible.
Sure.
Not that we're really talking about that much time, but I still think even more marketing. We need Metroid Prime 4 to have as much done right to help it succeed as possible.
Yeah, this is back to your argument you were making before we knew information, that maybe you put Metroid out alongside the Switch 2, right? Because, of course, you're trying to get an install base to care about Metroid in a way they care about Zelda now because, of course, Breath of the Wild being a Switch 1 launch game.
Yeah, exactly. And now knowing what they were with Mario Kart, which obviously Mario Kart is at this point Nintendo's biggest franchise by sheer numbers. So yeah, that makes sense too, especially if you're trying to get people to make that jump from the Switch 1 to the Switch 2 that I think for a lot of people is a no-brainer, but I think for the majority of people, I don't think it's a tough sell, but I think it's a sell. Like I think people need to understand this is a new console, and I'm so far past the Wii to Wii U type conversation. Like this is more just like and again, we'll see in a couple months, year, how right I am about this, but like I am so sure of the Switch 2's success, and I think a lot of it just comes down to it. The number 2 is powerful, man. Like PlayStation 2.
Oh my God, the blue box. Come on.
I feel like the second version of a console, specifically a successful console, that number just feels bigger than once you get to 3, 4, 5, it starts to just feel different. But like that first sequel to a thing, I think it means something different. And especially when you're talking about a console that helped so many people through the pandemic, and all you got to do is like dangle some shiny keys in front of them to get them to jump up. And I think that a new Mario Kart and then a new Pokemon are great ways to do that.
100%, 1000%. You're right on that. If you're wanting to know, ladies, gentlemen, and NBs, what's happening around that October release date, let me give you a peek over at GameInformer.com/2025. Welcome back, Game Informer. If you want to look into September and really start from that midway point, right? Borderlands comes out on September 12th. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, September 17th. Marathon, supposedly September 23rd. Alien Rogue Incursion, September 30th. October then becomes Directive 8020, October 2nd. Ghost of Yote, October 2nd. And Pokemon Legends ZA on October 16th. Followed by Double Dragon Revive on October 23rd. And Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D Remake, October 30th. Yeah. So obviously that's going to change. But you do like them planting their flag there. And I like giving that space between Yote and Pokemon. Not that we're competing, but in terms of what game you can dedicate your time to and self to. I do love that. And I will be anxiously awaiting my review code, Nintendo or else Mario. We'll get back to Nintendo in a second. But for now, we're going to move on to number 2 and talk about Apple and a little bit of Nintendo, because Apple is looking to debut a dedicated gaming app within days of Switch 2's arrival. This is Mark Gurman over at Bloomberg.
Such a weird framing of this. Like that's such
just letting them know.
It's just irrelevant.
We're coming for you, Nintendo. You know what I mean? If Greg doesn't get Mario, Tim Cook going to be shaking them by the bib jeans out there. Apple Incorporated is planning a dedicated app for video games on its devices, seeking to sell gamers and developers on the idea that it's a leader in the market. The company will pre-install the app on iPhone, iPad, Mac, and Apple TV set-top boxes later this year, according to people with knowledge of the matter. The software will serve as a launcher for titles and centralize in-game achievements, leaderboards, communications, and other activities, said the people, who asked not to be identified, of course, because these plans haven't been announced. The move is meant to enhance the experience on Apple devices at a time when gamers have plenty of alternatives, including cloud services and consoles. Nintendo Co. is preparing to roll out its much-anticipated Switch 2 device just days before Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference on June 9th, when the new app will be introduced. The new app will feature editorial content from Apple about new titles, offer access to the App Store's game section, and promote Arcade, the company's $6.99 a month subscription offering. And it will replace Game Center, an existing social network dedicated to this category that debuted in 2010 but never gained serious momentum. Apple is also planning a Mac version of the app that can tap into games downloaded outside of the App Store. Timothy Robert Geddes.
Yes.
Just last week, we did, 10-year time capsule. We already did it for what we did in 2015. Let's look ahead to 2035. You talked a bit about Apple there. Are you feeling bullish on your predictions now?
I did, and I am. And I think that there's a big caveat here of it's still up to Apple to do what they need to do and not just say it and not just put something out, because we've seen this before from them.
How many times have we heard Apple's getting serious about games?
Exactly. Like, we've seen it many times, like at least a handful of times in different forms and fashions that I do think have adapted with the times, but they've never been ahead of it. They're always kind of playing catch up in a classic Apple fashion when it comes to a lot of these technologies and ecosystems. But we are in a different place now. I keep talking about how cloud gaming is here and it freaking works for the majority of people that are actively using it. If it doesn't work for you and you're not using it, I'm not talking about you.
Yeah.
But we're seeing such a large swath of people try this out in different forms and fashions and having it absolutely work for them and be the main way that they play a lot of these games, or just a supplemental way that they play games, and that's fine too. Apple is a leader when it comes to hardware in homes in a bunch of different ways, whether it's phones, MacBooks, all of this. And if they're not a leader, they have a very sizable part of the pie chart, right?
For sure.
The biggest issues is Macs can't play games. And over the years, that's been changing little by little by little.
Yep.
Mac has Steam, but it doesn't have full Steam. They need to figure out some way to get Steam on iPads, to get Steam on iPhones, to allow this kind of expansion that we've seen in so many different ways. And when we're talking about Steam OS on different handheld gaming PC-based devices or Linux-based devices, Apple needs to be able to keep up with this. And the biggest hidden weapon here is the Apple TV, the actual hardware device, Apple TV, which is undeniably the best streaming box there is, period. What's second place? NVIDIA Shield. The NVIDIA Shield is fantastic and in some ways better than the Apple TV. But NVIDIA hasn't updated their Shield product in years. I think 2019 was the last time they put out an update to that hardware. We're definitely overdue for that. And obviously, it is a very similar thing to Android versus iOS, where there are different pros and cons on each side.
Of course.
But the reality is the amount of people, it's still low, all things considered. Most people are just using the apps on their TVs or whatever. Then there's a lot more people using Amazon Fire Sticks because they're dirt cheap. Yeah. The Apple TV is an investment. But for anybody that is serious about this stuff, serious about gaming to any extent, if you had that app, if you're serious about TV and home theater experiences and all of that stuff, the Apple TV is a no-brainer purchase. It's something that I personally would recommend to anybody starting wanting to take a home theater thing seriously. You need an Apple TV.
So stop right there and talk a little bit about the Apple TV box and why this is a great starting point. Why, if you're serious, you should do it. We already talking about how it does streaming better than anything else.
So the Apple TV has the same processor that I think iPhone 14, or if not 14 Pro has, which is very, 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 very strong, very fast, very powerful. The just sheer UI of the Apple TV, like the way it presents streaming apps, Disney Plus and Netflix and YouTube and all that, is just undeniably better than anyone else does it. There's zero ads at all. It's fast as hell. Like it's snappy. You load everything you want. It's like I've tried all of these things, and it's just so many steps ahead that it's silly.
Yeah,
I have a GeForce or NVIDIA Shield, and I used it for a very long time. I got incredibly frustrated by even hacking it and jailbreaking, doing all this stuff, getting rid of ads, doing all that stuff. It would always start to slow down, and you have to reset it, and it was always problems. Never had a problem with this thing. And it just has apps that work. They're clean. They're supported. They're updated. All of that stuff. What it doesn't have is NVIDIA GeForce Now. What it doesn't have is a lot of the like Xbox cloud gaming.
Sure.
If Apple starts taking gaming seriously, they need that. And with everything we know about how serious this Apple developer conference they're about to do in a couple weeks, it seems like Apple Home OS is going to be a big push for them. And that's going to include updates to the TV OS and to iPad OS. And it seems like we are at a point where Apple is confident in the products that it has, from phones to the Apple TV to MacBooks, and then just Apple Home in general, that I think there's going to be the most cohesion between them that we've ever seen. And they're going to be creating apps and a workflow that is the most, if it works here, it works there, than we've ever had. So it behooves them to get a lot of these apps that people want working across all the different platforms. And I think that that's where they're building to with this.
I want to bring in two different things. One, a paragraph from the Bloomberg article I cut out, but you kind of came into and then left. I want to get in there. And then Street Shadow Super Chat. Remember, Super Chat if you have comments on this Apple business. The Bloomberg article has this paragraph that I cut out. By market share, the iPhone remains one of the world's most used devices for gaming, a category that has been central to the App Store since 2008. In recent years, developers have added high-end games like Resident Evil, Death Stranding, and Assassin's Creed. About 2/3 of Apple's App Store revenue currently comes from games and in-app purchases. That includes tokens, levels, and other upgrades bought within the titles themselves. Of course, we've talked a lot on this show about how, well, Resident Evil, Death Stranding, Assassin's Creed, not moving numbers in terms of it, but showing what the hardware can do and all this stuff, which I think bridges a bit here into Street Shadow and some topics to talk about. Street Shadow Super Chats, just like you can on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, and says, I think Apple's dip into gaming will focus on distribution and storefronts. From their hardware perspective, they have a tight relationship with Sony, with DualSenses sold and advertised in Apple stores. What are your expectations about this app that we're hearing? It kind of sounds like what I think people are, stick with me, thinking the Xbox OS on ROG Ally would be, right? Where it's just bundling all the stuff that's already there in different folders and different things, bring it all together.
Yeah, and that's where this gets complicated because, again, this goes to what I'm saying of like, they need to get this right. They do not just do something. And there's so many things that they could just do because they've had Game Center for years.
Of course.
To some extent is this. But when you look at Apple TV, and this gets complicated because there's Apple TV, the hardware product, and there's Apple TV Plus, the streaming service. But when you have an Apple TV, you can either have all of the different apps on the home screen, or you can make a default that your home screen is the app, Apple TV Plus, that gets all of the other streaming services together in one. So in one feed, you're seeing Disney Plus and Netflix and Apple and Amazon and HBO and all of that. I can see them doing that for gaming. If they take this seriously, if they nail this, then it's like, yeah, you're able to get GeForce Now and Xbox Cloud and all the different services like that want to play nice and have them in one clean feed on a incredibly powerful piece of hardware with incredibly clean UI that's snappy as hell. And more than anything, at least one of the versions has an Ethernet port. So you can have wired in internet, which 10 out of 10 times is going to be better than Wi-Fi.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And that's what we need for like the optimal level of this type of gaming. And I'm just talking about the Apple TV portion. You can then apply that to MacBooks and phones and everything else. And yeah, there's just so much potential there that Apple just needs to open the door to, because right now they're like holding it closed and it's annoying as fuck.
Brandon is my foe asked the question I imagine a lot of listeners are. Don't smart TVs just have this built in though? Again, talk to me about the difference of the Apple app that I use right now. I use Apple TV and I watch the studio every night. Again, thank you for turning me on to it. Yeah. Through my LG TV app. That is something we're different. Go.
Yep. I mean, it's slow and everything has the little loading thing, and then you hit back and it's stuttery animations and stuff. Like it's all of that stuff. Somebody in the chat says that after using the Apple TV, it makes the other streaming platforms feel like Temu version. Like that, it really is that. It feels like we're streaming systems on the Apple TV and like going between different apps and even just using individual apps and all of that. It feels like you're playing on a PS5 Pro and built-in LG TV smart stuff. It feels like you're playing on N-Gage, honestly. Like that's how big I think the gap is in terms of just the experience. Like, yeah, you can still get all the content. You're not playing N-Gage games. You still are playing the high quality stuff. But even then, it looks better on Apple. It supports more of the Dolby Vision and Atmos and all of the things that you need, the different levels of HDR. But yeah.
And then Ishiban says, but I do have to subscribe to the apps through the Apple TV ? So yeah, right. Disney Plus, obviously, I don't use Apple TV the way you're talking about, but I would imagine I'm logging into Disney Plus through Apple TV, so that it's pulling all my shit there.
That's all that it is. It's just
sure.
I mean, like
making it for everybody at home. Don't worry about it.
I am like one of the biggest supporters of the Apple TV possible. Like it is one of the few products that I'm just like, oh, I recommend it to anybody. Yeah. It is worth the investment and it's freaking incredible.
How much is an Apple TV these days?
Like 120, I think. But yeah, it's just I'm trying to like Barrett, can you pull up Apple TV home page?
While you do that, I'll bring in Tricky Kappa, who super chatted and said, I'm playing through Death Stranding on my iPad right now, and I can't believe how well it works. That, again, has been the feedback from the limited number of people who are playing their games on Apple. I have the latest Apple, iPhone. I don't even know what's the latest anymore.
Like an image of like what it shows for the...
Yeah, you know what? Don't even worry about it.
When the last Resident Evil launched on it, I did downloaded it, played it there, and it works incredibly well, especially with the Backbone, which somebody called out the Backbone. If you're used to the Backbone app, when you snap in your Backbone, that's a little bit like what Apple TV is, that it's pulling all that stuff into one place. So in your Backbone, right, when it opens the app, it has Xbox Cloud, it has PlayStation Remote Play, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. I saw somebody in the chat say, well, we all know Tim's an Apple fanboy. Like, I am so clearly not an Apple fanboy. I am a tech fanboy, and Apple just in a lot of ways tends to do the things that I want better than the other products. I'm telling you, I was an NVIDIA Shield guy forever, and I still love the Shield for what it is, but undeniably the Apple TV is better for 99% of things that you're doing. Like if you're trying to play emulated games and stuff, yeah, the NVIDIA is better. If you're trying to play GeForce Now, something that Apple TV can't do, the NVIDIA is better. But if Apple could do it, it would be better.
Lucid Dream says, include a controller with Apple TV and maybe. Well, remember, in the store, they're selling the DualSense. That was a big news item not too long. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, not too long ago, that like they're selling controllers at the Apple store saying, hey, you can play our games, and this is the controller we recommend. So go for it that way.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
Just real quick, I just want to address
this. Fucking get him,
No, it's not getting him.
Ring his neck like I'm going to get
Tim,
Mario.
just admit it. I'm a tech guy and I don't like Apple stuff. Put a sticker on it. It's like, well, okay, cool. Then you're not a universal tech guy. Sounds like you're a fanboy of another thing. I love good Apple products. I love good Android products. I love good Microsoft products. Like, I have so many of these things. And the thing is, if you commit to one lane, it tends to work better. So the more Apple stuff, it works better. My house is Google. My house is 95% Google. And it fucking doesn't work 90% of the time. That's just how shit goes.
Of course, Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference is June 9th here in San Francisco. So we will wait with bated breath to see what else
stoked, man. I mean, the game stuff, I'm holding my breath on that. I don't fully believe that we're quite there yet. But I do think that this is a big step, and I think that we will get there. Like, I absolutely think we'll get there, and I don't think people realize how many iPads are out in the world, and the moment that an iPad can just connect to a DualSense and you can just cloud stream on that thing easily without workarounds and web things and whatever. My God.
I digress, everybody. We have more news to talk to you about because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. But why don't I tell you about patreon.com/kindoffunny, of course, youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, and Apple and Spotify. Of course, on those, you can pick up the Kind of Funny membership. $10 would get all of our programming. That's 20 shows a week, 80 shows a month, ad-free. And of course, you get your daily dose of me, Greg Miller, in a 15 to 20-minute podcast I do for you from my car. But right now, you're not using your benefits. So here's a word from our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by Mood. Let me tell you about the online cannabis company that's revolutionizing how we deal with life's challenges. From sleepless nights to stress-filled days, Mood.com has created an entire line of functional gummies that target specific health concerns with 100% federally legal THC blends. They'll deliver them discreetly right to your doorstep, and you can get 20% off your first order at Mood.com with promo code KINDAFUNNY. I've been having a great time trying out their different gummies and am loving how each one feels. Their Sleepy Time gummies will knock you out in about 15 minutes flat. No hangovers, no grogginess. Not only does Mood stand behind everything with an industry-leading 100-day satisfaction guarantee, but as I mentioned, listeners get 20% off their first order with code KINDAFUNNY. So head to Mood.com, browse their amazing selection of functional gummies, and find the perfect gummy for whatever you are dealing with. And please remember to use promo code KINDAFUNNY at checkout to save 20% on your first order. Again, that's Mood.com, promo code KINDAFUNNY for 20% off.
Breaking news, everyone. I would say probably tell Roger to change the thumbnail.
Yeah, probably.
Can you do that for me while we do this? And I'll talk. Can we do that? Can you do that for me, Barrett? Sorry. Breaking news, everybody, from IGN.com's Rebecca Valentine. EA cancels Black Panther game, closes Cliffhanger Studios. Electronic Arts is canceling its planned Black Panther game and shutting down developer Cliffhanger Studios, IGN has learned. In an email sent to staff from EA Entertainment, President Laura Mealy, I see. From President Mealy said that these changes, alongside other recent cancellations and layoffs, are being done to sharpen our focus and put our creative energy behind the most significant growth opportunities, end quote. In addition to closing Cliffhanger and canceling Black Panther, EA is also laying off some individuals on both its mobile and central teams. When asked for an exact number of individuals impacted, EA declined to comment. IGN understands the total number of affected individuals in this wave is less than the roughly 300 roles cut last month across Respawn and EA's fan care teams, but cannot confirm by how much. Quote, "These decisions are hard," Mealy wrote. "They affect people we've worked with, learned from, and shared real moments with. We're doing everything we can to support them, including finding opportunities within EA, where we've had success helping people land in new roles," end quote. As with the past round of layoffs, EA is endeavoring to place affected individuals in other roles across the company. The company has made use of its placement program with each round of layoffs in recent years, an effort that remains possible despite the constant team cuts likely due to EA seemingly drastically increasing headcount on other teams at the same time. Per GameFile's reporting, EA employed 800 more people as of March of this year than it did in the same time in 2024. To that end, Mealy's email continues. The company is focusing on a small handful of franchises going forward: Battlefield, The Sims, Skate, and Apex Legends. Mealy also assures EA will continue to invest in its Iron Man game at Motive and the third Star Wars Jedi game, as well as it maintain its mobile business despite today's cuts, while BioWare works on the next Mass Effect. Additionally, last year, CEO Andrew Wilson announced the company would be, quote, "moving away from development of future licensed IP that we do not believe will be successful in our changing industry," end quote. The email doesn't mention EA Sports, but this is due to Mealy running EA Entertainment, while EA Sports is a separate division. IGN understands that the sports division is unaffected by these changes now. Notably, Marvel and EA's agreement for Black Panther was part of a 3-game deal that included Iron Man and a third unannounced title. Little has been shown of Black Panther so far since its announcement in 2023, though we know from a job listing it was to be a single-player action-adventure open-world game. Black Panther was being developed by the newly formed, now closed, Cliffhanger Games, which was formed in 2023. With some former developers of Middle of Earth, Shadow of Mordor, and headed up by Kevin Stevens. These cuts come on the heels of multiple other rounds of layoffs and cancellations at EA over the last few years, especially in 2025. Just last month, EA laid off roughly 300 individuals, including around 100 at Respawn, while canceling an in-development Titanfall game and another incubation project. Earlier this year, EA restructured BioWare, giving some developers to other projects and laying off others. In 2024, there was a massive restructuring at EA that resulted in 670 workers laid off company-wide, including around 24 workers at Respawn. And in 2023, 50 jobs were cut at BioWare and an unknown number at Codemasters. Meanwhile, EA recently implemented mandatory return to office for all workers, a move that some employees told IGN has left many currently remote workers with concerns about what will happen to their roles long time. Of course, when asked about comment and exact numbers impacted, the reasons for these repeated cuts, or if more cuts were expected in the near future, EA referred IGN back to Mealy's email. Marvel has not yet responded to IGN's request for comment. Great job, Rebecca Valentine.
I'm just so happy that I was worried. I'm happy. I'm reassured that EA is going to continue to invest in its Iron Man game.
I have full confidence.
Full confidence.
I have full unflinching
That's definitely
confidence
going to happen.
that Iron Man game is going to happen. Thank goodness.
Thanks for that reassurance, man. Oh, man. God, this fucking sucks.
Yep. Yeah, obviously layoffs and studio closures are always a huge fucking bummer, and we seem to have those not more than ever. It seems like it's slowed down a bit on every day being 500 people losing their job, but we still get enough where it's like, this sucks and this is horrible.
But for it to happen for an IP like Black Panther, where I feel like back in the day, and the day not being not that long ago, 5 years ago even,
yeah,
there are certain things where like that there's protection there. You have the IP, there's almost a guaranteed sell-through rate of X million. Like all they got to do is get it across the finish line and it should be fine. Those days are clearly gone. We look at Monolith, we look at Wonder Woman, right? This happens now, and then Black Panther. It's like there feels like there is no safety. There's no guarantee. And it just being like, all right, cool, multi-100-person team at Electronic Arts, just being able to just be slashed before even releasing a product this big. God, that's just very not good for the future of video games, AAA games, licensed games, fucking Marvel games.
Yeah. Yes. There's so much to read into and so much we don't know. So to rewind a bunch and try to take it down, like, is this a canary in the coal mine for games at large, AAA, superhero, yada, yada? Perhaps. I think it says always more when you're looking at a place that's so fucking big. EA is so fucking big, right? EA employed 800 more people as of March this year than it did in the same time of 2024, right? So it's not that they're hurting. They might be. It's not that it's that they're investing in very specific spots because we're in an industry right now where the shareholders have all the power. And so when you're talking about something as big as Electronic Arts, as humongous as EA and the things they know make money, and the people who are going to sit there and go, why are you making X, Y, and Z? I might be painting way too broad, and I am not one of these people that are every year EA should be voted the most evil company in America, which was happening quite a back-to-back years. But I do look at this and like when they announced Black Panther, and even when they announced Iron Man, it was kind of one of those like, really? EA? You're seeing the success you had with Insomniac, and take PlayStation out of the equation. Just Insomniac, this dedicated team. Well, I guess you have to put PlayStation in. This dedicated team from a publisher that seemingly, or I guess not. Yeah, they still be publisher. The publisher that is like funding ideas and single player stuff, and you saw that success and wanted to go to EA based on Star Wars Jedi, I assume? Like that was the idea? Like, granted, I think we scratched our head to a degree when Star Wars started popping off or got announced over there when it was like, oh, that's not EA's traditional game. But I guess I never, it's not that I never
you gotta remember
believed
started with
in
Battlefront, right? Which very much was their traditional.
shooter though,
Yeah.
right? And like a shoot. That's what I'm saying though. I'm talking about like EA Battlefield, right? Okay, you make shooters, whatever. To then have a Battlefront makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Whereas the jump to a Star Wars single player game at Respawn, we're like, I don't know if that's it.
And then even taking out, like, looking at other companies, just their exclusive Star Wars deal that they had with EA for the longest time, and look at that output where Jedi Fallen Order comes out at the tail end of them pulling out of that deal, and then their next move is to invest for 3 games from this company, and it's like, all right, that was an interesting choice.
Jumping back to it though, I never I thought this was a weird move, and I thought these were weird choices to go with. So it's not so much that I look at that and go, I think EA is the most we're driven by profit margin companies, right?
So that's why it's good they're focusing on a free-to-play skate game.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. You know what I mean? Like, and again, like this is the conversation we've had so many times on this show about skate. We're, not all of us, but a lot of us are skate fans. Does the free-to-play scare you? Does this, that, and that? None of that scares me as much as I don't believe in EA believing in it.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what I mean?
Period.
That's the thing where it's like, it's going to
It
come
feels
out.
like, oh, cute. Just keep going as long as you can.
I think it's going to
eventually-
come out. I'll be the way EA operates. I'll be surprised if Skate gets out of early access / alpha, beta, whatever they are calling it when they keep talking about doing it this year, right? Where it's like they're going to do that. It's going to be similar, I would imagine, to some degree, and this is a stretch, but stick with me, to what we saw this week with Battle Aces, right? Where it's like Battle Aces did its whole beta stuff, and then the people at the top are like, this just ain't bringing in enough. Cut it. Don't do it. We're not committed. And I would imagine if Skate's early access, multiplayer, whatever, doesn't like spike the numbers and go humongous, I imagine EA will be like, no, this isn't worth it. We're not committing to these things. Because again, we're now talking about an EA that seems like they were making decisions when the good times were rolling and they weren't worried about it. And now clearly the suits at the top are worried about being financially solvent. So they're moving people off of taking risks. And that's why, again, Iron Man, I don't think you see. So then you get into this question again of Marvel games. Somebody, I shouldn't just say, a team, a brand that I think for years I've championed of like, man, I really like what they're doing. They don't always hit, they don't always succeed, but I like the idea that they take the Marvel IP and go to talented creators and do stuff. And you look at this and you're like, you just wasted how many fucking years with EA? Everyone would have told you if you would have asked them beforehand, is EA really are they really the people to get into bed with on this one? And you did, and now this Black Panther game is nowhere to be found and probably won't ever happen, right? Same thing, and I mean, like,
well, not like legit. Oh yeah, I mean, but there's even the other one,
the
right?
Black Panther IP of getting, God only knows what's happening. At least that one we heard this year, the Amy Hennig Skydance.
At least
Captain
that one
America,
got delayed.
It got delayed.
Like,
okay?
At least that one
Yeah.
had some news. I still really, really don't believe that's a video game, and I hope that I'm wrong about that. But I still, right now, stand by that, and I feel like this Black Panther game does not make me feel better about that Rise of Hydra or whatever the fuck it's called, actually.
1943.
Yeah.
Terribly. But it's the idea, of like, if I look at Marvel games, I'm like, I don't understand how you had this success with Spider-Man, and theoretically you will with Wolverine as well, and we haven't seen you partnering with more people. Yeah, we had Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not acting like we didn't. We also had Avengers.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, Guardians of the Galaxy, we had that, and then what happened? The studio
Closed.
got, like,
Because Square Enix in general was like, no, this wasn't worth it for us.
Yeah, and like that sucks. I love that game, and I don't think that it's as good as Spider-Man, but I do think that it's like a very good game that I would love a sequel for, and that is dealing with Guardians that like I honestly think is top tier IP at this point globally. And I think Iron Man's there as well. And Iron Man going to EA does make sense to me because of BioWare and Anthem and all this stuff. But that requires a lot of assumptions and jumps of like, well, this needs to happen, this. And that's how things have worked in the past sometimes to success, but oftentimes don't. And this Black Panther story, I mean, I feel like we knew this was happening. Like, I feel like every single thing we've heard off the record about this game has been bad.
I had conversations at DICE that did not make me confident I was going to see this game.
So, but I mean, do you think? Let me ask this, Greg. Do you think there's a chance that Iron Man comes out?
I mean, there's a chance anything happens.
But like, do you think that there's like a real chance it comes out?
Yes.
Yeah, but I say that because I'm peering into a dark hole. I don't know 1,000%. Yeah, I think there's
Bear,
a
why
chance.
do you so confidently say yes?
Because there's a dark hole, but
Who do you know? Do you know Tony Stark? Who's over there?
I know Tony Stark.
Okay.
And Tony Stark gives me a glimpse of a nice little white light in the dark hole of EA that makes me much more confident about Iron Man than literally any other project that EA has been canceling and working on for the last few years. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
I got some super chats for you if you're ready for them.
Let's go.
Okay, thank you very much. Dean 8149, is Disney's cut too much to risk releasing this? Do you think it comes down to a financial like that? I doubt it. I bet it's just that The game ain't coming together, and EA doesn't want to give more time to make it come together.
Yeah.
More money, more money. Not even time, more money.
I mean, I think that that's the thing. We're talking about hundreds of people with salaries and needing all this stuff. It's like that's so much money.
Sierra Whiskey 17 says Disney needs to stop. Sierra, sorry, Whiskey 17. Disney needs to stop handing Marvel and Star Wars IP to EA. Terrible track record. Also true, and it sounds like EA doesn't want them anymore, which is never a good sign when you still have them. Yeah, I mean, it's an Iron Man game. It's going to happen, but we are never doing licensed again. This is just trash.
I mean, the thing is, like, we can't say that because Respawn is awesome. And Jedi, Fallen Order, and Survivor, I think, are two of the best examples we've ever had of an IP-based video game. So,
but balance that out with Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2, and then the, again, non-existence of Star Wars game output coming from EA when they had an exclusive deal for a decade originally, right?
But even Battlefront 2, it's like the biggest problem with that game was the microtransaction stuff that over time they fixed. And
single player also sucked too, but
some people liked it. I wasn't one of them, but I mean that game's having a huge resurgence right now.
Yeah. The space battles do kick ass. Those controls feel really fun.
Ricardo writes in with the super chat and says, I think Fortnite killed the superhero licensed game genre. Why pay $80 to play Black Panther when I could pay a couple of bucks for a skin in a free-to-play game? I hear you, Ricardo. I fucking hate that take, though. Like, it's the same. I was like, I bitched about this yesterday. Not even bitched. I said this yesterday in Gregway, where I'm talking about how excited I am for Superman and all the Superman shit I'm buying because I'm a psychopath. And it's like, I know Fortnite's going to do a thing. I saw the leak yesterday or tease yesterday that the next season's going to be superheroes. And yet it's like, yeah, sure, that's great, but Superman running around with a fucking AK is not the same as me having an open world Superman game.
Yeah, it's not the same. I do want to give Fortnite more credit though than just you're Superman with an AK when it comes to the superhero.
They keep
stuff.
adding different modes and stuff like that.
And like I feel like they take specifically some of the superhero stuff seriously enough of like making it a awesome experience as a Marvel fan. Like this is a Marvel thing that they did when they do put that extra love and care into it, but Marvel Games is involved in that as well. And I also think Marvel Rivals is the more apt thing to bring up there, where there are successful Marvel games not being made by EA that people are absolutely loving and somehow
they're gonzo for it.
Continuing to deliver on new content updates that are keeping people happy. Like that's to think that a company found that success these days with the Marvel IP, with where that's all at, with a game that is this like multiplayer game. Like, goddamn, PlayStation must be so pissed it's not theirs. You know?
Yeah. Mike writes in, Big Curves, I do believe, says, I hate the never-ending layoffs, but devil's advocate. Don't most gamers agree there are too many games these days? Doesn't that kind of suggest the industry itself is too big? I'm conflicted, but sorry. Please don't take it the wrong way. I feel bad for the devs losing their job and hates what's happening.
It's the balance. I think that there are too many games, but I also think that it's just the balance of the resources required to go into all the different games, where I think that the amounts that need way too much, that's the problem. And when you need more resources to a ridiculous degree to create the game and find success for that game, you need the results to be that much bigger. And then once you get those results, the next one has to be even bigger. And that turnaround time, like it's just a equation that doesn't add up. No matter how you change the variables, it doesn't add up.
I agree with the equation not adding up, and I think that's where I would come down as the mathematics of it. I think I just tweeted today there's too many games, right? But it was because I'm so blessed that my ROG ally is stocked with games that I want to play, and the PlayStation has stuff and the Xbox has stuff, and I just know I can't get to them all, right? So then for Mike to go, doesn't that suggest the industry itself is too big? I disagree there. I think what's happening is that, again, we have people greenlighting games expecting too much from them, or putting unrealistic expectations on their financial success.
Yeah.
And that's the problem we're seeing, where EA lays all these people off and closes this thing and does this whole stuff where it's like they've sunk millions and millions and millions and millions, and they get to that point where it's never going to make that much. And it's like, well, yeah, that's why we probably should have downscoped this game. It's what we always talk about of like, give us more 15 to 20 hour games. Give me it doesn't need to be open world, endless gobstopper of content. Give me that golden path that's going to be a really great superhero story. I want games faster, either the whole thing that I'll fuck up. But I want it faster. They look not as good, and you know what I mean. Somebody
Yeah.
had a life while they made it. Like, let's
Yeah.
do stuff like that instead of.
But the truth of that, though, is then when those games come out, people need to support them and not like
100%.
Knock points on reviews and like turn the whole story of like, well, it's not as good as the thing that did take 10 more years to make and all that stuff. I feel like the responsibility kind of falls everywhere with that. And there are shining examples. I think Expedition 33 is the unfair thing to look at this point of just like they across the board knocked it out of the park. They did all the things that people were asking for and were managed to get the community to rally behind them and critics to rally behind them in the way that there's a story here and this makes sense. But you can't replicate that story unless you can, and we should look into that.
Sure, 100%. Yeah, if you could do that, that'd be pretty nice, right? Let's move on. That was breaking news. Thank you so much, Rebecca Valentine. You're fantastic as always. And I got through all the super chats. Oh no, here 2 more came in real quick. Nope, that's the end of the show. Failure to Think says maybe they canceled Black Panther for a tax write-off like Coyote versus Acme was canceled by WB. Thanks. Have an excellent day. I'm sure there's bean counter stuff tied up in it. I don't know if it's exactly that, but I don't digress. Number 3 on the Roper Report, which is really number 4 now, but keep it straight. We have a quick Elden Ring review roundup. Of course, you could get our entire Elden Ring review as the Kind of Funny Gamescast that already went live today. It's already up for your listening and viewing pleasure. Of course, the Steam description on Elden Ring Nightreign reads, it's a standalone adventure within the Elden Ring universe, crafted to offer players a new gaming experience by reimagining the game's core design. When I was building the document about an hour and a half ago, it had a 78 on Metacritic. Wesley LeBlanc over at Game Informer gave it an 8. Nightreign is at its best when I'm at my best, which means From Software's take on the rogue-like light genre needs to meet me halfway, leaving its frustrating misgivings at the round table hold. When the matchmaking works, when the map randomness gives my trio a fighting chance, and when the storm doesn't punishingly throw an unfair wrench into the expedition, I'm excited to rise to the challenge. The reward for my efforts is the mastery, knowledge, and adrenaline I spent dozens of hours building in Elden Ring, condensed into a single run, and every success is a visceral and is as visceral and glorious as the last. Mitchell Saltzman, of course, over at IGN gave it a 7. When Elden Ring Nightreign is played exactly as it was designed to be played, it's one of the finest examples of a 3-player co-op game around. The 8 character classes are each fun to use and feature a surprising amount of depth despite their limited movesets. The new Night Lord boss battles are among the best FromSoft has ever crafted and make the most of the 3-player dynamic. And the fast-paced race against the clock nature of each run leads to exciting moments of split-second decision-making and frantic rushes to try and finish up a fight before the circle closes in. But a lack of crossplay, duo matchmaking, and built-in communication tools make it hard to create the conditions needed to have this kind of experience unless you're bringing 2 real-life friends on every run. And if you want to play by yourself, I can't recommend it because of the poor solo match balancing. So, whatever. All of this amounts to an ambitious spin-off that's exhilarating when you're able to create the proper conditions and one that quickly flips to incredibly frustrating when you're not. Tim, you led the Gamescast. I listened in. Great discussion over there.
Great discussion for sure. I would highly recommend checking out the Gamescast with Bless and Andy talking through all of their thoughts on this game. Obviously, you all know that Andy and Bless are both huge fans of From Software games and Elden Ring, and also co-op experiences and playing with your friends and all that stuff. So it was very interesting to hear their thoughts on the game and what they liked and didn't, and they sound very in line with what Mitchell and Wesley and them are saying about the game as well, where clearly they love it. They love playing it, but there are a lot of issues holding it back, and it sounds like the biggest ones seem to be not having a good experience with solo while it is a mode that they offer. And just no crossplay and things like that getting in the way of this game finding its success.
Fair enough. Number 4 on the Roper Report is another review roundup for you. It's to a T. The Steam description on this one says a charming, colorful adventure game from the creator of Katamari Damacy and the Uvula. Is that how you say it, you think? Uvula? The Uvula team, about a teen navigating life in a small town with their cute dog companion while their body is stuck in a T pose. They do their best to make the most of it. Right now on Metacritic, this one's got a 75. Games Radar Plus's Andrew Brown gave it 4 out of 5 stars and said, "To a T is weird to its bones, and it's clear Yuvuyu takes great pride in that. The whole thing is nebulous by design and isn't so much a grand gesture of positivity as it is an ode to the little quirks you love almost without realizing. I love, for instance, the way the teen's umbrella is slightly wider than his mother's to account for being held at arm's reach. I love rain in gaming, and to a T has the very best. That might not sound like a sort of profundity a recommendation could hinge upon, but if you like rain for the same reason I do, the warmth and contentment it brings when you're on the inside looking out, then perhaps you'll get it. Moises Tavares over at Paste, which isn't on Metacritic, gave it a 6.3. To a T it is as awkward as its T-posing 13-year-old protagonist. For as much charm as this slice of life adventure game can muster, and to be clear, it gets lots of points between the opening and ending songs that bookend every chapter, it still just barely manages to get off the ground. Though I'm left with fairly good memories of my time with Teen, Dog, and company as they dart around their whimsical town full of odd figures, most of To a T is unfortunately regaled to thinly padded gameplay sequences patched together by similarly thin writing. All together, it is a well-intentioned misfire. Timothy?
This sounds like a Roger Picorni experience. This sounds like the type of game
Roger,
that Roger
get
would be
your
like, I
ass
played
in
this.
here. Roger, of
I
course,
played the T-pose games.
has beaten To a T. I am halfway through To a T. Roger, what do you think of To a T?
To a T has a lot of issues, right? And I can list them all right now. The game actually doesn't run well on PC. It has a lot of issues there. The pacing's really weird. Some of the character stuff and the writing doesn't translate well just because it's very weird and also very Japanese, right? But all that to say, I adore this game. This is an 8.5 out of 10. I really, really was smitten by it, mostly because it is a unique take on a game like this, right? I assume that from the trailers and everything that this would be like kind of like a meme game, right? It would be like I Am Bread. Remember that game where you're just a piece of bread and you're trying to get to a toaster, right? I thought it was just going to be like, a bunch of areas
funny
and you have to
physics
physics stuff to get through a door. It's more specific than that, and it's more has more of a heart to it, right? It feels like almost like a PBS game show. I'm a big
Arthur.
Well, yeah. It's more of like PBS mixed with like a weird episode of Steven Universe, and it just continuously devolves into the weirdest episode of a cartoon that you could possibly imagine. And it gets really, really weird by the ending of it, and I enjoyed it. And yeah, I was just smiling the entire time. And at the core of it, it is a game about a kid that has a disability that is just smiling and laughing through it. And that's what kind of warmed me from the beginning to the end, and I was just super happy with it. So yeah, I recommend it to everybody, and if you are interested in it, you should check it out. It's, I think, $20. So yeah, check it out for sure.
Check it out.
Where does the time go? Yeah, I'm halfway through it. I enjoyed my afternoon with it when I was tinkering with it, but it was that thing where it's like, all right, it's cute, it's fun, but I don't know if it's I need to come back to it and get back to it. So apparently, unless I'm Roger, I don't need to, but we'll see. Moving on. Number 5. Surprise, everybody. Animal Crossing got updated for the first time in 3 years. This is Vicky Blake at IGN.com. Nintendo has just released Animal Crossing New Horizons' first update in almost 3 years. It's not a particularly exciting update. The patch notes only tell us that May 27th's update, quote, improved the compatibility for multiplayer sessions between Nintendo Switch 2 and Nintendo Switch, end quote. But it marks the first time the relaxing sim game has had any kind of back-end refresh since November 2022. What, quote, improved compatibility, end quote, means, we're not completely sure. But it's likely a small tweak to make sure players jumping into Animal Crossing New Horizons on Switch 2 can still visit the islands of their friends without incident and vice versa.
Cool.
Tim, why is this not an enhanced thing?
Greg, it's good that it's not enhanced.
I want it to be enhanced. I want it to play better and be better.
I get that.
I want
but
that.
What you want more is a new Animal Crossing.
Yeah, but it's going to be years and years and years. It will be. It will be. Guaranteed it will be.
But it might just be a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm not saying that that's what I think it is, but like, I think that all the handful of games that don't have the updates yet all seem like games that could easily get
More
a plus
content.
whatever content. And
Yeah.
I think that's what you actually want.
I just want new. I want it to run better.
You don't need that.
Oh.
For Animal Crossing
Yeah,
New
it loads
Horizons,
like shit, Tim. It loads like absolute dog shit, Tim.
Yeah.
It does.
I mean, it's going to be
It's
better
a
on the
fucking
Switch 2
horrible
already.
trying to go to other people's islands. How long that takes?
Yeah.
You don't know this
I'm telling you,
conversation.
though.
All right,
I'm
don't
telling
come in here
you,
like
it's
you
gonna be a
know.
lot better.
It fucking better.
I'm telling you, it will. And I'm telling you, you're going to get more content. You're going to get more Animal Crossing content sooner this year.
I better get more content. Number 6 on the Roper Report. Speaking of Nintendo surprises, let's see what features they're adding to the Nintendo 64 Classics. Barrett's shaking his head. He loves this. Look, oh, you can rewind now. This is exclusive to Nintendo Switch 2. You can rewind now in your N64.
Well, why are you shaking your head about this?
Barrett, he's talking to
you. I guess we needed all that hardware to add a rewind feature and a CRT filter.
CRT filter, y'all. Show it. Toss it up there. It's exclusive to Nintendo Switch 2.
Really needed all that hardware to make silly shit like this exclusive.
Yo, y'all
Just
love
give
Curbs.
it to the fucking people on Switch 1 who aren't going to get a Switch 2 at launch. It's stupid.
Whatever, this shit doesn't even matter anyways. But
good news is
it is good news that they're getting more like actual emulation stuff here, being able to customize your controls and all that stuff. That's what you want to
view and change your controls, and that works on Switch and Switch 2. So there you go, Barrett. They gave you something.
Yeah, just let me turn off the damn borders.
Yeah,
You
that
freaking
needs to be a
monsters.
fucking
Shit's
that needs to be a
hideous.
thing, which will also probably be exclusive to Switch 2. And also, where is Donkey Kong 64?
DK Donkey.
I get they don't want 64 releasing on the Nintendo Switch Online to, overshadow Donkey Kong
yeah, you're right.
Bonanza.
Mhm.
Like I get it, but still, it's been years.
Tim,
Mhm.
Barrett getting the ability to rewind his N64 games is huge.
Yeah.
Just gigantic. The biggest news of the day almost.
Yeah.
If I wanted smaller news, say the tiniest news I need to know about, where would I go?
You go to our last story, the Wii News channel, where we cover all the small news items that you need to know about.
Number 7, the Wii News. Garfield Kart 2, All You Can Drift is releasing this year. Woo! Fuck yeah. Mario
And, like,
Kart's like,
why
I got
does
this one wrapped up. Fuck off,
You
world.
look at Garfield and you're like, the shit actually looks kind of fucking good art style wise.
Yeah.
Like you look at it, you look at Mario Kart World, and I'm just saying.
Can you tell the difference?
I'm just saying.
Can you tell the difference? Look at that. You got that cell shaded. You got him. Is Nermal in it? Of course Nermal is in it. Don't ask dumb questions.
Look at that car.
Fire up your engines because Garfield is waiting for you at the starting line. Play as one of 8 cult characters from the Garfield universe.
There's 8 Garfield characters?
Well, there's a lot more, and you would call them cult classic. You wouldn't just call them cult characters because that would imply there is a cult in the Garfield universe. But I digress.
Sure there is.
Sulfur over on Blue Sky reports Sulfur just passed 150,000 copies sold. This has truly been a dream come true. Huge thanks to all our fans spreading the word and supporting us in early access.
Cool.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
A lot of fans of Sulfur I know here. Over on Blue Sky, Yuri Lowenthal reported and then deleted. This is a direct quote. And for those who keep asking, no, I will not be returning as Yosuke in the Persona 4 remake. I asked, maybe, I even begged, but they don't want me to come back. Of course, the Persona 4 remake is not announced.
No.
And Yuri has deleted that Blue Sky post.
Yeah. I don't think it's super surprising.
No, not at all. It's just,
Yeah.
Barrett,
And
will it be announced next week at the Xbox Game Showcase?
Honestly, there's a good chance. I honestly think it's still insane that we have still heard nothing about Persona 6 and that we're getting 2 remakes and a bunch of other spin-offs of Persona 5 in between Persona 5 and Persona 6. Insane behavior, but they did announce Persona 3 Reload at the Xbox thing, what was that, 2 years ago at this point it must have been. So, yeah, I could very well see it being there. Also, if people want to make a huge burger out of this, I would say give a new generation of voice actors, the shot to come in and give their own takes on a beloved cast, just like they did with Persona 3 Reload, which I thought was a good choice.
Moving on. Staying on Blue Sky, though. Matt Piscatella from the Circana group Blue Sky this today, and I thought it was interesting. Circana Player Engagement Tracker. The top 15 titles by total weekly active users, not concurrent, for the week ending May 17th. Doom the Dark Ages debuts at number 5 on the Xbox Series and 12th on Steam US. Helldivers 2 sees big gains with Heart of Democracy update. It was 18 on PlayStation, up from 39 the prior week. People, of course, commented on this and asked Matt questions like, that doesn't sound that impressive for Doom, which Matt says, it's incredibly difficult for any new game without a free-to-play or sub-path to entry to crack into the top 15 in active players. That upfront purchase price is just a huge barrier in order to get that player count high enough to reach some of the live service stalwart benchmarks. Leave this up, of course, Barrett, please. And then somebody said, why didn't it chart on PlayStation? Matt commented, the live service behemoths are just sucking a ton of air out of the room on PlayStation 5 at the moment. If you look at PS5 for the top I'm gonna give you the top 5 instead of going through this entire thing, right? But it's Call of Duty at number 1, Fortnite, Grand Theft Auto, Roblox, NBA 2K25. I'll give you the 10. Minecraft, Marvel Rivals, Madden NFL 25, WWE 2K25, EA Sports, College Football 25. And then fucking Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Forza Horizon 5, Rocket League, and Rainbow Six Siege. Like, you see people committing to games, which is an interesting one for the Super Chat, talking about what we were talking about earlier.
Real quick, I want to say, Doom in the Dark Age is another thing. I don't know if we talked about this yesterday, but apparently it's like at about less than 1 million copies sold so far, which is not great.
Xbox gameplay, I see.
Yeah, definitely, because they're saying the 3 million players, and 2.2 of them are said to be playing through Game Pass. So it's just like that's a very interesting thing for a game that did launch on both PlayStation and Xbox at the same time for a big franchise too.
Super chat from Golden Spider says, are 15-hour games the future of the games industry? Non-gamers don't want a small game. They want a big game they can play for 2 hours every Saturday all year. You keep reminding us we are the minority, but then keep forgetting that as well. Well, Golden Spider, what I would reverse engineer your question is that if we all continue to chase the people who only want to play 2 hours and buy one game a year, the industry is fucking cooked. It's over. It's donezo.
I truly see it as just different markets entirely. Gaming has gotten so big. Their console sales are so astronomically higher than they were in previous generations across the board. When like it's crazy, we talk about the 13 million of the Wii U, but even looking at like the GameCube, thinking about like some consoles that had a bunch of high quality games and stuff. Like with where we're at now, like PS5 trounces so many of them, and there are exceptions to this, a lot of the handhelds and like PlayStation 2. But when we're just surely talking about like the amount of systems in homes, when the top 10 is a lot of people are playing these like endless free play games or just live service things or whatever, I think that is a completely different market than the people that are looking for 15-hour games, 100-hour games, whatever it is. And I think that as there is a market for those games, people buy those games. When they put out God of War and it sells almost 20 million copies, there's a freaking market for that, right? Yeah. And so I feel like it's a little silly to fear the Minecrafts and Roblox. They're doing their own thing.
My point to the question of Golden Spider here, right, is that I think you're seeing so many companies get fucked right now and lay people off and close studios because they see these numbers and chase that game rather than understanding that that's lightning in a bottle and you can do that, but you shouldn't hinge your entire fucking business on it. Make the 15, 20-hour games that we all love and will buy and support. Knock on wood, theoretically, hopefully you have to, but like do it with reasonable expectations and reasonable budgets and make a little bit of profit, not the astronomical amount of budget you want that inevitably ends studios. I digress though. We're not out of Wii news. There's a CD Projekt Red dump. This is collected from several different sources. Cyberpunk 2 is officially the 2077 sequel's name. It was previously, of course, codename Orion. This is GameSpot reporting that in their stuff now they're calling it because CD Projekt said Cyberpunk 2 has now entered pre-production. And then, of course, also The Witcher 3 has sold 60 million copies to date. You think it'll actually stick with Cyberpunk 2? It's too normal. It's too normal.
Yeah,
They'll get weird with it. They're going to get weird with it.
I said it earlier, though, and I do stand by it. Twos are powerful.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm not even joking. Like, that shit.
I agree. I know you're not.
It works.
And then to close out Wii News, Shinobi over on Blue Sky skeeted. Summer Game Fest 2025 will feature a record 60-plus partners this year via Jeff Keighley. The list includes companies like Capcom, PlayStation, Xbox, Sega, IO Interactive, Bandai Namco, and more. You can see it there. If Baron wants a full screen, I guess we'd lose some of it with our things, but you got it there with you. You got your Blumhouse, Dreamhaven, Magic
Switch
the Gathering. Fuck yeah, it is. That's where you announce Animal Crossing. That's where you tell. That's where Mario comes on stage and fucking apologizes to me and says he's sending 2 codes from now on.
Yacht Club is also here. Do we think we finally get a Mina the Hollower?
Yeah, I think it's time.
Of course, we will be live reacting, everybody, to SGF next week. It's a huge week. I mean, it's a huge day, huge everything here. Kind of funny all the time. Huge everything. And you can, of course, get ready for SGF and Switch coverage. Of course, we will be streaming the Switch 2 release pretty much all day long Thursday. Maybe earlier than that. We'll see what's up with that. And then, of course, on Friday, we'll be live reacting pre-show, live reacts, and post-show to Jeff's SGF conference before I shoot down to LA to play Thing at Playdays. Before, of course, Sunday, pre-live react post-show to the only Xbox presentation that also includes Outer Worlds 2 as a other thing. If you are into Outer Worlds 2, don't forget tomorrow we're re-reviewing Outer Worlds to be a part of it. Over here, Nitrogen Mustard says, Superman Keebler Berry Fudge Stripe Cookies releasing, Greg. Nitrogen Mustard, pull your head out of your fucking ass and turn on Kinda Funny Games Daily from fucking yesterday when we started the show by eating the goddamn cookies.
I ate the rest of the...
Good job, Barrett. I'm glad you did.
I think we gotta get back on a track, Greg. Like, we had a good energy going into this. I feel like we're losing the energy.
Well, a
The
lot of
energy's
people
evil.
need my energy to slap them down, and it's Mario. All right, we all know what happened. It was Mario. You had to remind me, Tim, that I gotta reach into Mario and grab
Oh my
by
God.
these fucking things.
Oh,
and
man.
tell 'em, give
What
me
hole you gonna
2
reach
codes.
into?
Actually, funny you say that. Of
work
course,
pipe?
Gerardo is cool. Has super chatted earlier and said, "Where is the 4th hole?" It's the one I punched through Mario when he doesn't give me the
Oh my
goddamn codes.
God.
That is it for We News. Thank you so much. We ask you to obviously super chat to be part of the show. We've done great at including them because we are great. Volk Dasher says, hey, one for the end of the show. I see Neil Druckmann doing interviews everywhere. Has Kinda Funny reached out? Would love it. Side note, interesting today. Saw the game sold 2 million copies during the 2nd season. Oh, fuck yeah.
dude,
2
that's
million more.
crazy.
No, we haven't reached out to Neil. It's his show is ending at a very bad time for us. All right?
Yeah.
There's way too much shit happening right
Yeah.
now. It's honestly rude that Neil and HBO would do this. Like, why don't we end it right before the Switch and right before SGF and right when there's all these reviews and things happening? But luckily, I'm always down to talk to Neil, so I can look into it for you. Guitaru Man Gaming super chat and said, I'm just here to beg the guys to have Mike and Nick play Roadcraft on a daily stream. Can I see a trailer for Roadcraft? Thank you. And then your final super chat of this show before Nick takes over to play Doom says, hey fam, I don't often platinum games, but when I do, it's out of respect. Expedition 33 joins a short but distinguished shelf of trophies next to the recent God of Wars, Elden Ring, and Sifu.
Same.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I had to
That's
do I had to do a full other playthrough of Expedition 33 to get all the journals. That was that was rough.
Yeah.
But
Curran,
it was worth it.
he's playing on Steam, but he's about to, whatever the equivalent is, platinum it, which is
Hell yeah.
crazy.
Get all the Steam trading cards.
Yeah.
Fucking. Every time a Steam achievement pings for me, I'm like, oh, it's disgusting.
Ugh.
Can't believe I'm wasting my fucking time here.
It's my 27th
This platform is
platinum.
better, and I can
Fuck
take it
yeah.
on the go on my PC. I'm watching Roadcraft right now, and I would just rather put a nail through my hand than play this. But I hope the guys play it if that's what they want to do. You know what I mean? I'm on it today. Come on.
He's on
I
it.
think I'm telling you,
Everybody's on it.
everybody, we're moving games daily when I'm on it to 11 because I fucking come out here and I throw the heat. We ask you to keep us honest at kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Tell us what we screw up,
Impossible.
Gundam Steve says, hey, Tim.
No.
No?
I'm preemptively upset.
It is that easy now. I use GeForce Now, remote play, Xbox Cloud streaming easily with my iPad Pro, and Neo Pocket S, my Sony 900 HTV, or my phone. I connect a DualSense 8-bit Pro 2 or a DualShock 4. I just open the app, connect the controller, and play.
Yeah. And you are awesome. and
I'm
I
awesome, Josh.
appreciate
I
you.
said that was the same.
But there are still levels to make it even easier for people and cleaner, and just like a default, like you don't even need to think about it. It is still too close to PC gaming. It needs to be closer to console gaming. And there's just a small little bridge, even if it is just the one app you go into and you sign in and you're just freaking good.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
Well, Timothy,
Mm-hmm.
we're good to go because that's all we had. Remember, everybody, this has been Kinda Funny Games Daily each and every weekday on a variety of platforms. We run you through the nerdy video game news you need to know about live on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, youtube.com/kindafunnygames, Apple and Spotify, podcast services around the world, technically. But I'm saying if you want to pick up that membership that keeps the lights and mics on, of course, go to patreon.com/kindafunny, youtube.com/kindafunnygames, Apple and Spotify to pick up your membership. Get all of our shows ad-free, get your daily dose of me, and of course, get good karma for supporting an independent small business. Our programming day is far from done. The one, the only, the drum major, Nick Scarpino, is about to play Doom, the Old Country, Eternal. I was thinking about this today. You were talking about the
Mafia, the old country.
I feel like this one's, I just haven't heard, I mean, at review, obviously, but I just don't see the same hype. Is that, Barrett, is that, are you seeing that?
I think that's the feeling is that, you know, it's like, it's another great one of these.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, it's not like so inherently worse that people are talking about it on that end, and it's not so blowing people out of the water that people are talking about on the other end. Ever since Doom 2016, I feel like the games that have followed, really just Eternal and this one, right, have really struggled to like really break out and have people talk about it on another level, which not every game needs. That's
course.
Totally fair.
Yeah. Andy said it's his favorite of the three.
Well,
But it's Andy.
I know.
yeah, the thing that you're talking about the man
Andy
who
plays
keeps
solitaire.
chili in
This is
his
the
room
best game
for
of all
fucking
time.
8 years.
I can parry in it.
Andy does love solitaire.
Everybody, go watch Nick play whatever the fuck that Doom is. And until next time, no! It's been our pleasure to serve you. Maria!